What is going on, everybody? Gershon, GP Snakes. What's going on, brother? First one in the chat. Appreciate you tuning in. How you doing tonight, man? How are you doing? Let's see here. No other comments besides GP? I see we got a couple people watching. Let me know you watching. Who are you? Quit creeping. What's going on? Y'all say hey in the chats. And here in a second, I'm going to bring on our guest. Oh, y'all ain't talking? Y'all ain't talking? That's how y'all gonna be? Alright. Zachary, there we go. What's going on? KZ Reptiles? Is that your name? Nice, I like it. KZ Reptiles. I see you've been stacking your collection up, getting some animals in, and some nice snakes. What all are you working with? Working on a snake rack. GP says he's working on a snake rack. I wonder if this is going to be a video. You recording this? Are we going to be looking forward to a DIY snake rack video? Let us know something. If y'all don't know who Gershon Porter is with GP Snakes, definitely go check him out. He's got an amazing channel, puts out content all the time. One of the people responsible for me even starting this podcast and pushing me to put out a lot more content. My brother, Gershon, I appreciate it. Alright, without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and bring our guest on. Y'all help me welcome Kyle to the stream. What's going on, brother?
Hey, what's going on?
You know, another day. Just got through cleaning snake racks. The fun of cleaning snake poop. You know how that goes.
Yep,
fun
life of a snake breeder.
Yeah, man. Gotta get dirty when you want to breed snakes.
Definitely.
All right, Zachary says he's not got much. Got a lot going on over here with some smooth projects, single and double jeans, starting over. I met him a few months back, bought some lizards from him, leopard geckos, and a iguana, a blue iguana. I didn't end up keeping her. Excuse me. She was a little wild. And
right. I had an iguana a while back, and he was crazy.
Yeah. Did you ever get it tamed down, or?
No.
No.
Nope.
Yeah, they're beautiful animals, but man, I had one years and years ago, and that thing was massive, probably 6 foot head to tail, and
oh, wow.
It just got pissed for no reason, and would whip you with its tail. It was bad. So I'm not going down the that road again with the daggone tail whipping and all that. My Tegu, I actually just got her to a point to where like I can open up her enclosure and not worry about where my fingers are and stuff like that.
Right.
She actually put a little bit of fear into me when I first started working with her, and she came out of brumation. She was fine for like 2 weeks, and then all of a sudden it was I'm coming at anything that is in the vicinity of the door being open.
And they move at a high rate of speed for a short distance.
Yeah. You have any other lizards or anything like that?
I don't. I have a blue-tongued skink, and then I have 4 bearded dragons. Other than that, it's all pythons. Nice. Oh, and I do have a boa too. Nice. I always forget about her.
That's the pet snake, you know, like just for you.
More or less, yeah.
Yeah. I've got animals. I was just talking to Gershon about this the other night. I've got animals that I've never posted on Instagram, and I don't show off. And it's not because I'm not proud of them or I don't like them. I just like some stuff is just like it's just for me. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like
for sure.
I don't know. You know, it's just how it is. All right. So I guess if you wanted to just start out by telling the viewers a little bit about yourself and introduce yourself.
All right. My name is Kyle Tatom. I run Tatom's Exotic Reptiles. We're out of Arlington, Texas. Me and my wife actually started in this about going on 3 years ago now. We bought our first snake, and you always make that first initial snake purchase, and then it just kind of spirals from there.
Snowball.
We go into a reptile store. It's a local reptile store here, and they had a blue-eyed Lucy.
Uh-huh.
And I'd never seen one It was like, I mean, it's just fascinating that you can take a snake that's black and brown and then turn it into white with blue eyes. And it was like that just kind of fascinated me. So then we started looking into the different genetics and everything like that, and it was like, it was just amazing some of the things that you can do with these animals. Different genetics do different things, and it's like some of the stuff that people are producing nowadays. I mean, just the combinations are endless.
Yeah. Absolutely, man. That's kind of how it bites everybody is you're used to seeing the normal ball python at PetSmart, and then it may be something as simple as a lesser, or a lot of people,
something that just changes the color or the pattern, and you're like, wow, what is that?
Yeah, and it piques your interest, and then whether it's YouTube or you Google, and then you come up on Morph Market, and then you're lost in the sauce of all the different combinations. And it's a some people are able to tone it back and able to grasp reality and say, I just want to buy 2 and that's it. I say all the time, like, I'll talk to people and they'll be like, I just want 2 or 3, and I'm like, well, you're gonna daggle with that fine line, because I either know people that have 1 or 15. There's no like in between.
Once you get 2, it's on. And it's like next thing that 2 turns into 5, and that 5 turns into 15, and then 2 years later, 3 years later, you got 70, and you're like, dude, I remember whenever we just bought that first one.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly, man. So GP says that he's got a rack building video on his channel. Okay, cool. Yeah, man. All right, you did. You showed me the door, and I just walked through it, and I appreciate it. I will keep doing it. Ross, what's going on, brother? Appreciate you for tuning in. He wants a Cayman, which we unfortunately can't have him in Kentucky. But you wild, man. I don't want no gators, no crocodilians, none of that. I do like watching people.
I like
YouTube.
My fingers.
Yeah, on YouTube, and I got a friend that I follow on Instagram, DW Exotics. You know who that is? Dre?
Yeah.
DW Exotics. He's got a Cayman, I believe. It's a dwarf Cayman. I mean, it's a dope looking animal. Like, don't get me wrong, I'll look at them all day, but not for me. Neither is venomous. But I don't know how crazy you are if you ever dabble in venomous, but that is not for me either.
See, I work. I kind of mentor a little bit with Earl Jones from Lone Star Reptiles.
Oh, okay, sweet.
And yeah, he lives not far from me, and it just kind of started out as I started going over there and kind of helping him, and now I go over there on my days off, and I spend the weekend over there cleaning cages.
Nice, man.
So I've helped him clean his venomous stuff. I'm not interested in it personally. They're cool to look at, but no, I'm good.
Yeah, Earl's got some nice stuff, man.
He does.
Real nice stuff. Rashawn actually had him on his podcast a couple weeks ago, and I was tuning in, and asked a few questions about stuff he was working with. I know there's a few genes that I had never seen before until his collection, or until I was watching some of his stuff. I'm trying to think of, there's one, Gold Blush is the first one that comes to my mind.
Yeah, that came from Brian Gundy.
Brian, right.
Gold Blush, yeah.
Yep. But there's another one that he was just talking about on his podcast, and I'm trying to think of the...
Was it the Dark Wonder? Was that one?
He might have mentioned that one, but that wasn't it. Gershon, if you still watching, man, do you remember what the gene was that he was just recently talking about? There was a big part of the podcast on this gene, and it's really nice. He was talking about a few projects that he was working with it. Man, I cannot think of that gene. Hopefully he's still in here. He'll mention it, but I'm sure you know what I'm talking about if you're over there.
I don't know what all he's put out, so I'm not gonna speak on stuff that I don't know if he's already released or anything like that.
Yeah, but he's got a real nice
he does. He's got some really crazy stuff.
Yeah.
And some of his pairings this year are going to be pretty cool too. He hits on what he's trying to hit.
Yeah. Dark Wonder. Yeah, that's what GP says. He thinks it was Dark Wonder. Man, it was I feel like it was another gene. If you say it, it'll.
I know, like LSR Fire.
That's it. The LSR Fire. That
LSR Fire. Yeah.
Yep.
He loves that gene.
Yeah. He had talking about a few combos that he was making, and interested in seeing how that turns out for sure.
Yeah, he let's see, when was that? It was one of the Arlington NARBC shows. Antoine
High
from
desert.
High Desert Pythons. I think he did a video or he did a post on it of the LSR Firefly. So the LSR Fire Pastel
Yep.
next to a Pastel Desert Ghost,
Uh-huh.
and they look almost identical.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. So I know he's working his LSR Fire like you would as like a codom form of Desert Ghost. So I know he's working that quite a bit. And that was one he's had for a while, and he just kind of put it on the back burner. And now he's like, dude, every time I make something, I don't want to get rid of it. Like,
Yeah.
I just want all of it.
Yeah. That's nice, man. That's always nice to kind of like, and that's the thing, like we were talking about backstage, man. It's just like you make stuff that you want to keep, and
Yep.
what you can't, you'll have to get rid of. But to have something like that is so powerful, so nice, and not only that, but other stuff that gets people talking, other people are excited about. That I don't know how many years away from having, or if I'll ever have Dark Wonder or LSR Fire or any of these genes, but
Right. Yeah, he's got who is it? Mike Wilbanks' line of fire in his collection too. And you can set them side by side, and it's like night and day difference.
Really?
Like, yeah. And the LSR Fire get lighter with age.
yeah, and that's
And
the key.
it's just amazing. Just amazing.
That's the key. I talk to people that are getting in the hobby and they don't really understand the concept of like what is the goal when we're trying to produce these combos is to get them to be as bright as they are as a baby or a hatchling as an adult.
Right.
If you can do that, then
Because we all know, the snakes are going to brown out over time.
Yeah.
I think it's more of like their natural camouflage in the wild. That's why they do it. And there are some combos that do brown out over time a lot quicker than others.
for sure.
And
For
I
sure.
think with his line of fire is going to be key to a lot of projects to keeping them in those colors.
Yeah. I love fire. Just in general, fire is
Right.
a nice gene.
For
John,
sure.
what's going on, brother? Appreciate you for tuning in. Got a few more people jumping in here. Gary, what's going on, brother, man? Appreciate you for tuning in. GP says, "Oh yeah, the LSR is crazy bright." That's the one I want to say it was probably about 20 minutes straight they were talking about this, and it's definitely a nice gene.
For sure. Yeah, he's had a list of people trying to get this for the last 2 years now.
Really?
And he's like, dude, I just want to keep it all, so I can never get through the list. He's like, as soon as I'm through this list, I'm not doing a list anymore.
Yeah. I can't remember if it was that one or the Dark Wonder he said he was releasing this season.
LSR Fire. There's a few people that have LSR Fire. The Dark Wonder. I think he's saying that he might be releasing it this year. He don't know yet though.
Yeah. Mike.
Because I think it's him and a guy in. I can't remember where it is, but it came from what was it? Somewhere in Europe, wasn't it? I don't remember where it was. But him and another guy are working the project, so they're trying to make it to where they're releasing it at the same time.
Same time. That's nice, man. That gotta be strategic about it. It's like I tell people all the time. People want to like bash big time breeders. When they're hating or being jealous. Like Justin Kabelka. He's not anything other than smart and strategic about how he does his stuff. He's not going to release something that he knows is going to revolutionize how people are looking at combos until he's stacked on it. He's stacked on it. He's going to drop 17 clutches before you could even think about getting some babies.
So as soon as he releases something that you see, he's already got 10 more in the back that he's been raising up.
Yeah.
That's how you have to stay ahead of the game.
Yeah. I mean, what sense does it make for him to work for 20 plus years to be able to get to the point he's at to give you the recipe every season?
For sure.
For sure. I get it. I mean, it's like, come on now, you can't expect someone to just give you their patent every year. You know what I mean? So people have to realize, like, he's just smart. He's he's business major. He's businessman. So
Yep, for
he's
sure.
what it is. Mike, we're Herp Collectors. What's going on, brother? Appreciate you for tuning in. All right, man. Well, we'll get into it. I actually, while we was talking on Earl, I was gonna ask you something on him. I'm super squirrel brain, man. I always think about something, and if I don't get it out right then, I'll forget about it because I'm
right.
trying to go through the comments, make sure I say what's up to everybody, looking at the questions, and then just casual conversation. I don't know. I'm sure it'll come back up during convo, but I knew it was something about Earl before we got off on it. I don't know. I can't remember. Anyway, so you said that basically did going over to Earl's start you in the reptile hobby, or was it just the fact that you went to a pet store and?
So I was already in it. I met Earl for the first time about 8 months ago, and it all started out with he was on a podcast with Billy from Mutation Creation, and they were discussing getting babies to eat.
Mm-hmm.
So Earl was like, well, there's an old trick that you can try, and it's take vanilla extract, and it has to be real vanilla extract. It has to have alcohol in it.
Right.
Stick a Q-tip on it, stick it on the back of the rat. 9 times out of 10, they eat it. I was like, whatever, it ain't gonna work.
Yeah.
So I had one that I was assist feeding for months. Drop a vanilla extract, dropped it in there, 2 seconds. It was done. And I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
So I messaged Earl on Instagram, and I was like, hey, just let you know, like, I kind of called you out on the live, like, that stuff really works.
Yeah.
And he was like, call me. So we started talking. I don't know, for some reason, I thought he was in Amarillo, which is ways away from me in Texas.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, dude, I'm in Alvarado. He's like 20 minutes from you. And I was like, dude. So we went over there and just kind of hung out, and he showed off stuff. And, from there, it just kind of involved into me kind of helping him. So
nice, man. That's awesome. Oh, he's definitely probably got tons and tons of knowledge to give.
Yeah, for sure.
I wish that I had someone to kind of absorb that knowledge from a sponge. I definitely have people that I'm in communication with that have more knowledge with me. But someone as cool as the breeze is Earl, to be able to just go over to his place and kick it. And
just hang out all day. Yeah. And he's like, well, I don't know, like, he's like, I know you want me to mentor you, but like I don't know what to really teach you. And I was like, you don't have to like break it down and like this, and this. That's like just us having conversation. I'm learning.
Yep.
Like watching how he cleans tubs versus how other people clean tubs, how he cleans his facility. It's like stuff like that. I'm learning from that. And it's like, he's well known for how clean his facility is.
Oh, yeah.
And it stays clean.
Yeah, his place is nice, man. There ain't no doubt about that. Like he's got a nice setup and definitely takes care of his facility. Sorry, my wife is trying to fall over here. My apologies. I don't know what thing just started creeping on me. Trying to fall over. So, alright. So it looks like we got a question for you if you want to answer this one. Ross says, I don't know what "ter" means, Ross, but how do you deal with people that are afraid of snakes or think that you're weird for having snakes?
I know a few people that think I'm weird for having snakes, and I always tell them it's like, I get it. There are people that are afraid of snakes, and there's people that just snakes aren't for everybody.
Yeah.
And I was like, but you come over to my house, first thing you're going to do is you're going to stand 10 foot away from me, and you're going to look at a snake, and I'm going to pull out a bright colored snake.
Yeah.
And then you're going to slowly get closer so you can look at it. And then next thing you know, within 20 minutes, they're holding the snake. They're having a good time. It's like, because we're all taught from a young age, snakes are bad.
Mm-hmm.
And, they're so, especially ball pythons. They're so calm I mean, I have snakes I can walk around my house with all day, just wrapped around my neck. They don't care about nothing.
Yeah.
They can be fully in shed, don't care about anything. You can grab them, rub their head. They don't care.
Yeah.
But, everybody was taught at a young age that, all snakes bite and they're bad.
Yeah.
Or what was it? The only good snake is a dead snake. I
Yep.
hate that term.
Yep.
I grew up out in the country, and that was what I was taught.
Yeah.
But it's like, why?
Yeah.
Being
afraid, being scared is why.
And it's all about. It's really it's ignorance. It's not stupidity. It's ignorance. People just don't understand.
Yeah.
So as soon as they learn a little bit more about the snakes, then they're like, oh, okay. And then even then, they'll like be sitting there holding a snake. I mean, they still probably will never own one.
Yeah.
But just getting through that to where they're actually holding a snake that they were. I mean, my wife, whenever we first got together, she wouldn't even dream of letting me have a snake. We got our first one, and then now look. Yeah. And it's like, I come in one day, and she's in here cooking, and she got a snake wrapped around her neck, and I'm like,
growth.
What just happened?
Look at it.
Like,
look at that growth.
Yeah, I mean, it was like just overnight, and I was like, I mean, that's crazy. It blew me away.
Yeah. I couldn't imagine that coming in here or in the house and seeing my wife with a snake around the neck.
Right.
She used to be absolutely terrified, and if there was a snake in the house, then that was not gonna happen. It's not even possible. She's
right.
a lot better now, and I think that there may be a one day, maybe, possibly, that much of a possibility that she may hold one of these days. I have faith in her because she's grown a lot. I never thought she would hold a bearded dragon. She held a bearded dragon, so she's getting there. She at least she comes in here.
My thing is whenever I pull males out,
yeah,
I'll leave my tub cracked, so I know that there's nothing in there.
Yeah.
My wife will come in. I get a message. Do you know this snake is out? And I'm like, it's not. It's breeding. Like.
Yeah, I actually I developed a little system way of keeping track of them. All of my labels have Velcro. They're Velcroed on, right? So just like that, I can take my identification card off, and I've got these clips here. I've seen a lot of people use these when they have a male in there or they're feeding, and they'll flip it up if there's a rat in there, or they'll take this from the male tub and put it in there, and it may have, at one point I was going to write the name on the little ID tag, and then that way you know that male's in there. But what I've done now is I'll take the male's sticker, tag off, and put it on the female's tub. Like that right there, which is a big eyesore when you're looking at everything being, on the actual tub. And that way I know that male hasn't been taken out. He's in there, and he's not where he should be. But I actually am so picky, I don't even like that anymore.
Right.
What I've decided to do now is I'm probably going to take all of these off the center and move the female's ID card over to the left just a little bit, and then have two of them side by side like that.
Okay, yeah.
Just that way I can take the male and then Velcro,
Yeah, I have all of my males have a tag. They're like a clear badge.
Yeah.
Holder, and I have a card that has their name in it, and I just clip it on the side of the female's tub.
Yeah. So I told you I'm all over the place with thinking. I wasn't even thinking about this, but my wife messaged me, and Tatom's Exotic Reptiles is Tur. He was saying
TER. Yeah.
Yeah. You got it. I went over my head. I wasn't even paying attention. That's bad. All right. So let's see. Got everybody. Ross says thank you. Appreciate that response. He's got a lot of non-snake friends, and they don't understand.
Yeah.
Think his mom's called him crazy for having all these snakes.
My parents call me crazy all the time, and I'm like, it is what it is. I like what I like, and
Yeah. He's one of those people I was telling you about where, he had one snake or two, I think, and he came over and he was seeing stuff. I think he was chilled out for about 6 months, and then I got, hey, I'm getting this snake. He showed up to get some rats, and he's like, hey, look what I got at the show. And he's got a caramel albino.
And those shows are the devil, man.
Yeah. Oh, nice pickup. Maybe a few months later after that, I think he got a retic, and then he got went all. He had it was a smaller retic, but he went all the way out and then got a huge like 8-foot boa BCI,
Wow.
massive. And then I think he picked up another second boa that wasn't as big. And I don't know where he's at now. I think he's probably in 8 or 9, getting close to double digits.
Nice.
With some of them being pretty big
It's
snakes.
definitely an addiction, man.
Yeah. And my family are the same way. John says his mom won't come to my house. They will come to my house, but they don't want to come down here necessarily in the snake room, which I don't know how you feel about it. Or, I know there's some like twisted people out there, man, but I get zero zilch pleasure. Now, funny's funny, but at the same time, these are, my babies, and I care about everything that's in this room. I don't want to stress them out, and if you're going to be stressed out and scared, I get zero satisfaction out of that. I'd rather see you with a big smile talk about, take a picture of me, look at this huge ball python. Oh my God, it's 4 foot. Look how, and I'm like, that's not big. Let me pull out one of these boas. Let me pull out one of these boas. That's,
every time I have somebody come over that's unsure, I always start with babies.
Yeah.
And what everybody doesn't understand is babies are more likely to bite you than an adult is.
Absolutely.
But the babies are cute.
Yeah.
And that's what I started. I always start out with the smaller ones and just work my way up. And I mean, I have, she's probably 3,200 gram.
Oh, big girl.
Female. It's just ball python. I mean, she's just massive.
Yeah.
And they're like, can I hold her?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, I've got 2 or 3 females in the 2,800 to 3,000 gram range. And when I open that tub up, now that's a big ball python.
That was a big ball python.
And I'm over here every day I come in. I'm waiting for that blink of the eye. I've got a retic and a berm, and I'm waiting for that blink of an eye to happen where I look over and be like, damn, I need to upgrade y'all's enclosure. Y'all are huge.
Yeah.
They're both right around a year old. My
Okay.
retic's about 6 foot, maybe a little bit longer. My berm's probably about 5, and I know it's gonna happen before I realize it. Which already looking back since I've had my berm, he's grew drastically. I mean, he was probably the size of a small adult corn snake when I got him. So.
Yeah, berms are cool. I just couldn't have anything that big. I don't know.
Yeah, like you just because you don't want to handle it, or.
Yeah, I mean. Yeah, more or less. They're just a lot to handle once they get so big.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a big snake. I mean.
Oh yeah, 100%. I'm banking on one of 2 things. One, my wife has a revelation and says, you know what? You do this all the time and you don't get bit. I see you with around your neck and they come up on your face and then they flick their tongue. They don't bite you. And she goes, I've been tripping. I'm going to come down there and I'm going to get in and I'm going to handle these snakes. And then I got help, right? If that don't happen, I've got to hope that my boys will be around when I need to move one of these big jokers. And I won't be putting myself in danger and trying to move them without anybody here. I've got people that I can call on. I've got people that would love for me to call them and be like, hey, come over and help me do this. I just don't always, it's like, kind of hate calling on people when they're, you kind of feel like you're taking advantage of them just because they want to be around. But they're genuinely want to be around what you have going on. To, I don't know how I've gotten to this point, but there are some people who look up to me as a mentor. I guess I have to attribute it to the fact that I did a lot of research and I never put the brake on that research throttle. I held it down, balls to the wall, and
still to this day.
Yeah,
I mean, just constant.
Absolutely. Justin, what's going on, brother? Beyond Exotics, appreciate you for tuning in. John says his biggest bow is 75 pounds. That thing is massive. I've got a 6 foot, 22 pound boa, and people drop their jaws at her. I can't imagine it. 75 pounds. Jeez.
That's a big boa.
Yeah. All right. Let's see here. Yeah, 75 pounds is massive. What are you feeding that thing? Rabbits?
Pigs.
Yeah, mini pigs. Um, all right, so you said that you were in the hobby and keeping before, pet store and Earl. Exactly, or do you know exactly how long you've been in the hobby or keeping? It's just been you said you grew up in the country. It's just been one of those things where you went outside and caught them like most of us did, trying to be wild herpers and little
Uh,
Steve Irwins.
Not really, because I mean, like I said, back where I'm from, uh, and I would like again was always taught,
Kill
don't
every
play with
snake.
snakes.
Yeah,
I mean, you got like cottonmouths and stuff like that out there,
yeah,
and I mean, I'd look at them, but it was just something that I never really. I mean, it just never really piqued my interest whenever I was younger.
yeah,
I mean, I'd catch frogs and stuff like that, but
yeah,
I mean, for the most part, snakes were never really something that I was interested in.
yeah,
And then whenever I moved out, I was like, man, I want a boa. I mean, I just the bright red tails on boas are just amazing. Like I've just
yeah.
always wanted one.
Yep.
Wife would never let me have one. Again, terrified of snakes.
Right.
So I gave up on it, whatever. And then, like I said, finally got a ball python, and then from there it just kind of took off. But as far as keeping, I had an iguana back, man, what, almost 13, 14 years ago.
Yeah.
And then kind of never really had reptiles. I had a chameleon there for a little while, and then, got the ball pythons, and then it just kind of took off. So as far as, like, I would say in the hobby, really, like with ball pythons, around 3 years. We've been keeping ball pythons. But before, we've had reptiles in the past, but not really, like, really in the hobby.
About 3 years ago is when you decided to come up with Tatom's Exotic Reptiles and get serious about breeding and stuff. Okay, cool. Did you, what was your strategy as far as, like, where you buy every snake that you come across just because you're infatuated with, or were you like, well, let's stack up on some females? What were you kind of thinking when you were like, well, let's build this collection and we'll start breeding?
So of course started out with buying stuff that I liked.
Yeah.
And it wasn't really. I mean, I was never really looking into it for making money, and it was just, this snake. If I do this, I can make these. If I, so it was just more or less. I breed for me.
Yeah.
And whatever I don't like, or like whenever I'm working on specific projects that I have, I sell off the stuff that I don't want. So you always want to keep growing.
Right.
So anytime you stack genes on top of others that you already have, you're going to eventually get rid of those and get rid of your single genes and just work your way up. So as far as, I didn't really have a strategy going into it. And I started watching Billy, all of his videos. I started watching Earl's videos, and again, he was down the street from me, and I didn't even know it. Just, I mean, how everybody gets into it.
Yeah.
And then it was like, we're not doing this right.
Yeah.
And it was like, we didn't get too far in before we realized, hold on, let's backtrack. Let's look at how we're going to do this. And so after that, it really, I mean, as far as, wow, I lost my train of thought.
Also, it happens to me all the time. Like I said, I'm squirrel brained in a mug, man.
Right.
I'll get talking about something and completely lose track.
Right.
I hate it, but it happens. It's all good.
Yep.
But you kind of got to a point to where you're like, I need to restructure because I have a lot of stuff that I like, but I may have some of the same. I know because when I first started, man, I seen a pastel and I was like, oh, I like that. I need one of those. And then I started thinking, well, let's think long term. It's just like you watch Billy and us, and a lot of these breeders started to get me to think about 5, 6, 10 years in the future. And it's okay to have a pastel, but what about if you had a pastel double het clown pod, or if you had a pastel double het hypo, or even just a pastel het hypo, or a pastel hypo, or pastel, whatever the case may be, with the recessive, because that's where the industry is leading, or is going towards. And when I found that out, I kind of made a commitment to myself this season, going into my second season, this one that I just finished, to not have any new pickups that did not have a recessive in it. So for my second, I did good because it was only one that I picked up that didn't have a recessive in it. But she was a killer snake, and I had to get her. She's a blackhead yellow belly, and she's ridiculously looking. So, and with that, it just basically gives me the power to either use or don't use it for the het. Right. And I already know that I like blackhead. Why not have it as het hypo too if I know that I like hypo? But what if I just want to make some blackhead combos, not hypo? I can still use her. Just don't put her to a hypo male, right? You know what I mean? So that's kind of what I developed for the philosophy for this past year. And I hope to get to a point in another season or two to where I say, nothing that comes in is not double het,
Right.
Or I'm trying not to produce anything that's not at least het for something or double het. It's been so hard for me, man, to not put my blackhead mystic het hypo to my pastel hypo female this year to produce visual blackhead hypo combos. But that's one and done. Just because I want that one snake, I would do a whole clutch to get that one snake. Now, don't get me wrong. That's definitely a reason to make a pairing. And if you want that one snake, I'm not saying don't do that, but I can make that at any point. I can also, breed him to a, what I want to do, breed him to a different recessive, and then make that in a double recessive form like I want in a few years. So instead of breeding the blackhead mystic het hypo to that visual pastel hypo female, I'm breeding the ultra male female or ultra male to that pastel hypo female. Because I know that I want
trying to make double head.
Yeah, well, I know that I want to make a hypo ultra male, and unfortunately I don't have it in like multiple codoms. Like I don't have red striped yellow belly het ultra male, and or a visual ultra male. And I started out with just a single gene or just a single form of ultra male with no codoms in it, and I'm gonna have to put him into other females to be able to produce those codominant genes out of there. Pipeline Pythons, what's going on? I appreciate you for tuning in. Gershon, I appreciate you for getting Pipeline in the chat, man. I appreciate it. Let's see here. Looks like I missed some. Y'all was kind of talking to each other a little bit. John, you said you got a Savannah monitor, 2 iguanas, 2 bearded dragons, 58 balls, and 5 boas. It's a lot of work, man.
A nice collection.
Yeah, that's a lot of work. Lizards, man. I went on vacation, and I got all my snakes good, to go for vacation. I didn't even worry about them one bit. But my bearded dragons and my tegu had me have to have someone come over here every day, fix their little salads and give them, it's just, they're high maintenance, man. But I love them.
For sure.
Love them to death.
For sure.
All right, so you said that you also have a few bearded dragons. Do you plan on breeding them at all?
I'm not sure. We had thought about it, and it's like, that's a lot. It really is a lot. So it's like, I think we'll just kind of stick to the ball pythons. Focus on that, and then maybe later on down the road we'll look more into that.
As far as branding goes, I can't help but notice I see that you named yourself Tatom's Exotic Reptiles. And just like me, I said no way to pythons or no way to anything that strictly kind of solidified me to one species or one thing. Was that in the
same thing?
House?
Yeah.
Okay.
it had crossed our mind that we were eventually going to branch out into other forms of reptiles.
Yeah.
Whether or not it's going to happen, I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah.
Like I said, just right now the main focus is just
Yeah.
on ball pythons and getting that where we want it.
Yeah.
Later on down the road, you never know. We might decide to go add a couple of other species. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
So
It's good to have your options open,
yeah.
And
And I mean, I've had people that are like, well, what kind of, like, they'll see my shirt and they're like, well, what kind of exotic pets do you have?
Yeah.
I'm like, snakes. Ugh.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm like, it says reptile though.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like birds. I don't sell birds.
Yeah. Yeah. But you could,
I could.
You could, you could open up a store with that exact name, Tatom's Exotic
Yep.
Reptiles, and have everything under the moon in there: fish, birds,
Yep.
ferrets. When I think exotic, like, I literally think anything other than a dog and a cat.
Right.
Anything. You go to most people's homes, you're like, you see a water bowl or a food bowl, you're like, oh, you got a dog or a cat,
They're like, oh no, that's a monitor.
Yeah, yeah, or somebody is like, what's in there, because this where I'm at right now is my attached garage, but it is fully converted. Other than the fact that the garage door, you can't see it, it's completely plastic off with black, super thick plastic tape or plastic
Right.
sheeting, but this is a attached garage, and when people would look through here like, oh, what's in there, you it's crazy to think that there's almost 100 snakes in here, and
Right.
People just think that, like, your snakes would run wild throughout the house, and
Yep.
just crazy
And
stuff,
I've had
man.
people walk through my house and, like, not even realize that they're there.
Yeah, I mean, they're,
And
you
I'm
know,
like, do you realize you just walked past like 60 snakes?
yeah, it's-
What? I was like, yeah. Oh, well, I thought that was just like a cabinet. And I was like, no.
Yeah, I like educating people who know nothing about snakes, and I think it's even funnier when I ask them, "What experience did you have that has you terrified to hold this snake?
Right.
What experience? What happened to you? When did you get bit, or what happened to you so that made you the way that you are right now?" Nothing. I said, oh, it's movies, or
Yeah.
they're icky, or whatever the case may be.
Misconception.
Yeah, you don't have.
Oh, they're
it's-
slimy.
Yeah, it's based on false information they really don't know anything about.
Right.
Programmed, like we were saying earlier. Because it's really, when you boil down to it, as long as, now I won't say that I know there's people out there who feel like snakes have emotions, and that they are really high. I won't. They're definitely not stupid. That's not what I'm
Right.
saying. Like, they're not dummified. They're not like simple-minded creatures. They are
Right.
smart, but I don't believe that they get mad or get sad. Like, they don't have the type of emotions that people are like, he just loves this. They don't.
Right.
They don't. Not in my opinion. I think that they
They're like
tolerate
putting little
us.
sweaters on them.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, whatever floats their boat. Like, I'm not trying to make fun of them. I'm not trying to, like, get them to stop doing what they're. This is just my opinion.
Right.
When it comes to, like, lizards, monitors, other stuff like that, when you tell me that you have trained your ball python to come tap this red ball, I will say that they have a higher thinking, like a bearded dragon or a monitor does.
Right.
There's a reason that a lot of people are strictly monitor or tegu or lizard, keepers.
Right.
Same thing with other species that are super smart. There's a lot of people who feel like you should never be able to be in the same room as a tiger. But there's
Right.
a whole Netflix series on that,
Yep, for sure.
Just because they will eat somebody don't mean that they do,
Right.
I
I mean, just because they're capable of it doesn't mean that, it's just going to happen with any tiger you come across. Like,
Yeah. At the end of the day, it boils down to being able to read the animal and know how they function. And when I tell people, especially new keepers that come in here, pick up snakes, stuff like that, like you need to pay attention to stuff that's going on
Like
because
you still have to respect the animal, no matter
oh
how
yeah,
big or how small they are.
for sure,
Right.
for sure. Um, speaking of, I
Like you're reaching into their house.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
it's the same thing.
and I have four four snakes that are either 6 foot or bigger, and those are my most most not likely to bite you, shall I say. They are the ones that I do not worry about when I hand to somebody. I can turn around. Now, take that with a grain of salt because, like you just said, they can and they will if the situation is, right. If I had just brought in a
Especially
tub of
if like they
rats,
can read if you're tense, they can read that.
yeah, yeah, absolutely,
And it's whenever you're tense or you're panicking, your body's going to produce more heat, which
yeah,
they're going to see more. So it's like with uh, Berms. They
hmm,
always go around your neck, and it's because that's the warmest part in your body.
yeah,
It's like that. I mean, it's how most snakes are. They always gravitate to your neck because that is the warmest part of your body,
yeah,
or one of the warmest parts of your body.
yeah. I've told people before whenever I put my boas around their neck and want to take the picture, and I'm like, all right, just stand there. I'm gonna place them around your neck. I'm gonna drape them over your shoulder. She's probably gonna take her head around your neck and then complete the U shaped around your neck. Boom, take the picture right there.
Right.
And whenever I see them come around and they get more than a quarter of their body through, they'll take their body and kind of hug it up towards their neck and complete the circle. About half the people, when I tell them to, hey, don't let them finish the circle, don't complete the circle, put
Right.
your arm in between there and keep you in between the snake and your neck and not a full circle so that
Right.
you don't lose consciousness. You can kind of see the panic in their eyes a little bit, like, hold on, wait, what, hold on, what happened,
Right.
because I tell them, like, look, it's not going to kill you, but neither
I
me
mean,
or
they're
you is
trying to
going to
hold
be able
on.
to, yeah, neither me and you is going to be able to predict when you pass out because it takes like
Right.
what 3 seconds for somebody to pass out,
Right.
so and it's not a thing about them trying to do it. They're literally, like you just said, trying to hold on, and that's it. Lika, what's going on? Appreciate you for tuning in. All right, man. So we got how long you're in the hobby. Do you know roughly, and this is mainly for some of the people who haven't been keeping or want to expand their reptiles? You said you have about, what, 60 something snakes?
Um, Probably closer to 70 now.
70? Okay. Do you know about roughly what your upkeep expenses are on a, maybe a monthly time frame?
Um, I mean, I raise my own rats.
Breed your rats. That cuts out a bunch.
Um, Sorry.
I said that cuts out a bunch of
Yes,
expense,
for
man.
sure, for sure. Especially whenever you feed that many a week. I mean, I feed every Wednesday, and
Yeah.
I mean it adds up
Oh yeah.
fast.
Oh yeah.
Um, there for a while, I was using cocoa blocks. I've recently switched to aspen,
Really?
and that it kind of went back to working with Earl. Um, Aspen, you have to clean it more.
Yeah.
You do, but you can see every time they go to the bathroom. You can see exactly where it is. It's easier to spot clean. You go through and you clean cocoa,
Yeah.
and you don't realize it until you wet it down, and you're like, oh,
What's that smell?
oh, okay, yep, whole new
Yep.
bedding,
Yep.
and and even the cost of it was a big difference, and it goes a lot further,
Yeah.
and I'm not. I mean, off the top of my head, I can't even think of
Yeah.
roughly what it would be.
That's fine. I threw that question in there a couple weeks ago, and honestly, I don't really expect a lot of people to know off the top. I mean, I couldn't even tell you, nor would I really probably want to have that number, like, prepared or something. Just because it's like, do I really want to know what it costs? But at the same time, I have a general idea. Really, I guess you're kind of in the same boat as me as far as your only real upkeep is snake bedding, rat food,
Rat
and rat
food and
bedding.
rat bedding. Yep.
And the minuscule amount of water that it costs you to feed the water and snakes and electric.
And I use bottled water
For your
with
snakes?
my snakes. Yeah.
Oh, there, high maintenance.
It's clean
do you
water.
see a benefit? Okay, are you in an area that you're worried about using regular water or?
Not really. Whenever I first started out, I would boil the water. Every now and then there's times like right after it rains, there's a lot of chlorine in our water.
Okay.
And I've also done water and then add a piece of copper wire to give them the zinc and everything like that.
Yeah.
And it's like switch to bottled water. And I'm like, if I can drink it, they can drink it.
Yeah.
So, and really and truly, it's not that expensive to buy the bottled water.
Oh yeah, especially if you're buying the gallons.
Yeah, well, I go to Sam's.
Yeah.
And I buy the 40 case of water, and it's like $4. So it's like
for just small bottled waters.
Yeah.
I got you. What I do,
and then I don't have to worry about refilling the water bottles, and it just saves a lot of time.
I don't really have an issue with giving them water right out of the sink, but just to be extra cautious on what they are consuming, I've got a gallon jug, and at night I try to remember every night that I use it or anytime that I use it to fill it up and then let it sit out with the top open. And I don't know if you have ever heard this before. When you let water sit out for 24 hours, it dechlorinates, the chlorine boils off.
Okay.
That's what I do. So
I don't even drink water out of the tap. So
I don't either. But I say, well, if the snakes can drink, or if I can drink it, then the snakes can drink it, or my dogs can drink, whatever.
Right.
But I don't drink water. I don't drink water out of my purified thing out of my refrigerator, and I change the filter every 6 months on that thing. So it's that's a bad habit of mine. I only drink Pepsi and some juices.
Yeah.
But all right, we got a question for you here. Kyle, Herb Collector says, what projects are you focusing on?
Right now we are focusing on some lavender combos, some clown combos, and some pied combos.
Nice. Mixing them together,
I think we have.
Or visual forms of in those projects, or mixing together like.
Let's see. I have one pairing right now. The male was a pastel spot nose clown to a Mojave het clown.
Nice.
And really, I'm trying to just hit the Mojave spot nose clowns.
Yeah.
And, I would take the pastel, but either way, I'm just trying to get more spot nose clown stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I also have. Oh, she's not het. I'm actually trying to make hets. So that same male to a butter leopard orange dream. I'm trying to make that and trying to get some hets out of that.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I like
that ought to be interesting.
Oh yeah. I know Mike's got quite a few clowns. You said something that was similar to Alexa, and she went to town.
Dude, she just went on. I don't know what's going on.
Here, I done said it. I'm looking at mine.
Now you're gonna start talking to you.
Yeah. But yeah, I like those pairings, man. That's pretty nice. Have you seen Spot Nose with Russo and Clown?
I haven't.
Have you seen very many projects with Russo at all?
No, not really.
As far as Clown goes, I had it.
I'm gonna have to look that up.
Yeah, I wasn't really sure on which way to go with it. I don't have it in Clown, but I have a banana black pastel Russo, and he's awesome. Like super bright, very little freckling at all, and I have a super Russo female. And the way that I decided to put it into Clown was to take a Fire Clown male and breed him to my Super Russo female. And that way I know that everything that comes out is 100% het Clown and Russo. If I get a Fire Russo 100% het Clown female, that's gonna be the keeper. You know, if I get two of
Right.
them, they'll
For
be
sure.
the keepers.
For sure.
Problem is that, you know, then I have to figure out, or I'm gonna have to buy, because I don't have spot nose, and special is also one that I would like to see in that combo.
Yeah.
I just had a brain fart. Special in the Blue Out Lucy complex?
Um,
I don't feel like it
I don't
is.
think it
It's
is.
not, because Special and Mojave make a crystal. All right.
Crystal. Yeah.
So it would have made an all white snake if it was in the Blue Out Lucy complex. Okay. But yes, the Special Russo Spot Nose Clown is one of the combos in the Clown project that I am looking forward to shooting for. I talk Gene so much, man. I start to confuse myself. It's like
Right.
I had the whole Krypton cryptic Gene explanation down packed. Watched Justin Kabelka's video like 16 times when I was on a work drive one time, like 4 or 5 hours. And then it came up in a podcast, and I watched their brains melt. As a matter of fact, I think it was Gershon's podcast. He was interviewing somebody. I can't remember who it was, but I seen some brain melting, and my brain was melting with him. I'm sitting here talking, no, it's, you know, and then it just got me. But yeah, man, I definitely I like the way that Russo works in general with a lot of just co-dominant genes and the combinations. It's really nice. That guy, I'll actually get him real quick.
Oh yeah.
Super bright, man. Hey, why you hussing and puffing for, boy? Huh? His name's Romeo, because he is a absolute stud. I swear to God, he'll lock a rock, a small twig. If it resembles a snake, he will. He'll pull
I
them
have one of those.
pins out. So shortly after I got him, I named him Romeo. He was sold to me as proven, came from a Super Russo, in that he never goes off feed when he pairs, when he breeds. They were correct, except for he does go off feed when he pairs. So he didn't eat for me when he was breeding last year, like the last 3 months, and this year he's really taken a quick take to that and has already stopped eating, and he's only paired up twice. That was weird. And what's funny is I actually sold him. Regrettably, the guy I sold him to let me buy him back, and I think he's a super good guy. He's bought a bunch of stuff from me, but I think he kind of did it more for me than him not really. He said that he wasn't going to use him the way that he thought that he would. But I think that he was just really just trying to do me a favor because
Right.
he knew that I had regretted it.
Yeah.
And he said that he
Seller's
actually,
remorse.
yeah, he actually didn't get along with him. Like he, wanted to come out of the tub at him and everything, and he'd never been like that to me other than the hiss. You got those ones that are like hiss, and you're like, you're not gonna do nothing. Like quit doing that. But yeah. So John says, Clown, I'm shooting for an OD Fire Pastel Mojave Blade Clown, going
Right.
for it all.
Very nice.
Plus a Caramel Pied Clown. Caramel Pied Clown. Okay. Never seen that combo. I don't see very many people working with Caramel Albino at all because of
Right.
the female issues. I've got two 66% triple hets. Xanthic, Caramel Albino, and Hypo. Females that I'm growing up. Honestly, all I care about is the Xanthic and Hypo. if they prove
Have
out
Have you
one.
seen the caramel Azantics?
No, I have not.
You should look at that. They're like a rust color.
Really.
Yeah, they're pretty awesome.
And I think I got them from Lindsay Noble. You know who that is? Noble Reptiles.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think she hit the caramel. I can't remember if it was the caramel hypo. I know she didn't hit all three, and I know that it wasn't Axanthic and hypo. I don't know. I can't remember. I really like the True Ghost project, man. I really like the Axanthic hypo. I really like the Axanthic Desert Ghost, especially the Axanthic DG Clown that Justin just put out. That thing is
Right.
insane. Like,
Yes, for sure.
ridiculously insane. Um, are you working with DG at all?
No.
No. What about as far as Axanthic lines, anything like that?
I have one male that's a POS hat, and I didn't even get him for that. So
Yeah.
I'm not even really working Axanthic stuff. Um, Axanthic's cool, but we spend a lot of time putting a lot of colors and patterns into
Mm-hmm.
snakes just to strip it all away. It
I
never
agree.
really made much sense to me. I
I
mean, some
agree.
of them are cool, uh, but like I don't know. It
I
seems
agree.
like a waste, in my opinion.
I definitely agree with you, and I feel like you should never try to make like a red stripe, yellow belly, orange dream, ultra male, Axanthic clown. I don't
Yeah,
think that will turn out the way that you
because
want it
it's
to.
just gonna be a gray and black.
Yeah,
A gray.
yeah.
I mean, there's nothing to
I
it. I mean,
mean, I just don't think that should ever. You know, it's like I'm looking at Justin Cabelka's poster right here with like the black pastel, Pompeii, and the, all these clown combos that are like real rustic red color and vibrant, yellow and black blending together and stuff. And that just, you'll
right.
never,
And
um,
you get the pattern, but
yeah,
no color,
yeah,
and it's like, and then Axanthic browns out fast, in my opinion.
yeah.
So it's like, I don't know. I mean, as far as powerhouse breeders, for sure, but like, I don't know. They're not very appealing to me.
Yeah, I get it, man. I get it. I definitely don't have it in my projects to stop with like just Axanthic. It's mostly double visual recessive stuff. The Axanthic hypo, True Ghost, the Axanthic clowns, which ultimately having more of a pattern type, with the Axanthic
Right,
clown
for sure.
versus color, and then Axanthic Desert Ghost. Uh, I told you wrong. Those females are DG Axanthic Caramel Albino, 66% triple het. I don't know why. I think I was talking about the Ultramel Hypo. But yeah, man. I have a black pastel fire Axanthic female, and she's not like brown, but she's borderline, that dull kind of grayish, but she's 3 going on 4 years old. She was the world's first black pastel fire Axanthic, and I really like Axanthic Firefly Axanthics, and I want to produce one and be able to keep it, and ultimately a Firefly True Ghost and keep it. And I may not keep the Firefly Axanthic anymore because that one will outshine it. So
Right,
you
for
know,
sure.
a lot like boils down to, like we were all talking about earlier, making a lot of stuff that you want, what you want to
Yep.
keep, stuff that you aren't just gonna go out there. And sometimes it just ain't out there. Like
Right.
sometimes the stuff that you want is literally not out there. Like anybody, no one has the recipe, or no one publicly speaks about the recipe, or is willingly said that they have the recipe to make Stormtrooper. But
Right.
it's a prime example of like you'll never be able to go buy that, like, or buy.
Right.
I mean, I guess somebody could if they had enough money, but stuff like that, you don't. You're not just gonna wake up one day and be like, yeah, I'm gonna go buy this.
Right.
So you get into it. You say, "I'll get all the
You just got to play
ingredients
around with it
and
and
make it."
make your own version of it.
Man, one of the guys that I know has the most. I don't know if you want to call it optimistic, but like one of the biggest. I don't even know what you want to call it, man. But like he has uh, a dream like no other. I've not heard of anybody ever talking about making a 7 recessive snake. And Rashawn, if you're still in here, you probably know, and Mike, you probably know too. I'm talking about John. I mean, he made a post about his goal was to make a 7 recessive snake, and he's got all the ingredients in different snakes.
Wow.
And it is just a mind blowing. Like I do think 4 or 5 years from now, like what do I need to do this season that if in 5 years I was looking back saying, dang, what should I pair that year out of what I have to be able to have a breeder for this year? I do think that, but I do not think triple or quadruple even recessive 10, 15 years down the road at all.
Yeah.
Because it's just my mind is like, I don't know. But he knows what he wants, and he picked up all the snakes, He's got dozens.
It sounds interesting to see what would happen. I don't know what would happen with that. Yeah. Like, would it muddy it up too much to where you couldn't tell what it was? Like,
yeah.
I don't know. That's crazy.
Think about it. I'm trying to think what all the recessives was. I know. I can't even remember.
It's a lot to think of.
Yeah, but I have to think that. I know that there was not like something very powerful like albino, that and anything other than pied and clown.
You probably had like pied clown, lavender.
Yeah, there was pied clown. I don't know that lavender was in there. I know pied clown, hypo, Azantic, desert ghost, pied clown, hypo, Azantic, desert ghost. Yeah, man, I can't even think about the other ones that was in there. But I basically commented on there. I was like, man, 21 years is what I'm coming up with, and that's if the odds gods are in your favor every year, year after year. Every snake that you pair up goes. You don't have any mishaps with clutches going bad, or and you hit good egg odds ratios, 6, 8 eggs. Every snake takes to rats and no mousers. There are so many variables in that.
Oh yeah,
and he's so optimistic. This is
a big dreamer.
He goes, really? I was thinking 15. How'd you get that? And I was like, well, I was giving you great odds. Great sex ratios, great odds on double het to double het hitting. Visual double hit,
there's people that have been trying to hit double visuals for 15 years.
Yeah.
Doubles.
Yeah. I know people who have bred 3 years in a row a het or 100% hit to a visual and not hit it, and then the fourth year hit it. Yep. A visual, and hit big, like a hit pied female. What was it? He had 6 out of the 8 eggs were visual pieds, So it's definitely a numbers game.
For sure.
Patrick, what's going on, brother? Appreciate you for tuning in. He wants to, if you want to shed some light on dinker projects. Do you care to explain that? Dinker projects.
Dinner?
Dinker. He messed it up there. Dinker projects.
I don't actually have any dinker projects.
Yeah.
So.
So, as far as I can understand, as far as like what dinker projects is, this literally can either be something that you feel like is popping up in your collection. I guess at one point, did Earl discover LSR fire? Or no, you said it's somebody over in Europe, right?
So the LSR fire, it was an import that he imported in.
Okay.
And they had actually thought that it was vanilla.
Okay.
And then, so he was trying to put Will Banks' line of fire with his line.
Yeah.
And was trying to hit, what is it, the vanilla screams? The fire vanilla?
Vanilla cream. Vanilla Scream is Fire Vanilla Pastel.
Right. So the vanilla creams, well, he hit an all white snake with black eyes, and he
Super
was like,
fire.
okay, so this is fire,
Yeah.
and that's how that was.
Okay.
But yeah, that was actually an import that he brought in that was thinking something else.
Yeah. So, and I don't want to put false information out there because I do think that imports and dinkers are different in a sense. In my understanding, a dinker literally could be something, could be nothing. Um,
Just something that just randomly popped up, like an anomaly that popped up during breeding, and they're like,
yeah,
"What is this?" And
yeah. I guess like some stuff that is real subtle that uh, people feel like is something going on, they call a dinker project. Um, and it basically is going to be either up to them or the person that gets them to be able to prove that it is something or it is nothing, you know, or it isn't something. Either way, that it's just something fun to work on the side, maybe talk about with your snake buddies. What do you think? That's a super normal. That's nothing at all. That's something you got right there, and you better hold that back because here's the thing. Josh Jensen, you know who I'm talking about? With Jensen Royals, founder of Acid.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah, that I guess you would consider was a dinker or import one. Um, and at one point he was told that was nothing. And I'm gonna tell you right now, he's gonna make a lot of money off of Acid. Already has, and going to keep make because he has a lot of Acid combos that you'll never be able to catch up with. And that gene is really nice. It's funny because it's been out for quite a while, and it's got nice value on it still to this day.
Sure.
I mean, I've been watching it for a couple years, and I'm surprised that it's still held where it's at. I would have thought that it would have dropped a little bit more by now, but there's gonna be those people who stacked up on 15, 20 males, breeding them through their 150, 200 breeder female snake collection, putting out a bunch of babies that are gonna drop it. Patrick says, "What would be a good investment price on a dinker?" I honestly, it's not something that I would invest in at all. A dinker, that is something that either that pops up in your collection, and you say, "Hey, there's something going on. I want to hold this back," and you label it as dinker because you literally don't know what it is. You don't know.
Yeah.
It's lesser, but it looks different from all the other lessers. You know that it's should be a normal because there's nothing else in there, but it looks really different from all the other normals, which you shouldn't do because I'm gonna tell you it's gonna happen when you produce your own clutch. You're gonna be like, "Oh, this normal is special. This is something's going on to it," but it's because it's your normal. It's you're looking at it and then there's.
I mean, there are dinker chasers out there that are just trying to get that their own gene.
Yeah.
More or less.
Oh yeah.
And it's just could be just a plain, like just a random anomaly that just happens in the snake, and then you get it out there and you can't reproduce it, and then you look like a fool.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that happens, like you said, randomly. Paradox, Chimera, ringers. I mean, all this stuff, it doesn't necessarily mean something. It's just like you can have ringers on snakes that aren't het pied. I just had this conversation earlier today. One of my buddies called me, Ross. He's actually on here, and he said, I didn't know you had pied. That's a nice pied, that you got. I thought you weren't working with pied. I said, I'm not. That boy is a gray matter. He just looks pied,
I mean, you get ringers on champagnes all the time.
Yeah, and I told him that. I said, there's some that champagne het pied. I mean, there's quite a few combos that you can do where you get a pied looking snake or ringers on it. Then again, like I said, it happens without being het pied. So
I mean, just like you get the track markers down the belly on pied, but you can also get it in orange string.
Yep.
So it's like
and just normals.
Yeah.
I have it on a normal right now, and she is not het pied 100%. to answer your question, Patrick, I would I would not invest in any type of dinker project. Um, Honestly, that's something that you should be like, well, for this amount of money, um, even if they're normals, I'll be happy with it.
Yeah.
That's the way you
And I
have
mean,
to
you
kind of
also got
look
to
at it.
think to prove out something like that, you're looking,
Yeah,
you know,
years.
8 to 10 years
Yeah,
to
years.
prove something like that out.
Like
And I just,
to be able to talk real accredited about it being proven and have
yep,
multiple ways of it being proven. It is a real task, um, and I mean, I honestly, I wouldn't like it. To me,
right,
that is too many tubs taken up by something that I'm not truly confident about that I want to keep. You
right,
know, and it's not. I mean, it's not worth it. You know what I mean? It ain't even about the time or the money or anything like that. It's about, if I'm gonna be mad that I passed up on other snakes because I literally said I didn't have the space, or I didn't, I wanted to stay underneath this number, so I'm not feeding all these snakes each week, because of these 4 snakes I kept this year, which turned into 6, which turned into 8, and it keeps multiplying because you're trying to take it different ways to see the differences in it. So yes, that, to answer your question, as low as you can get it, man, with you being comfortable with it being nothing, an absolute super normal.
super normal.
Is a joke in a lot of the ball python groups. People, would be like, "What is this
It's
snake?"
a
And
normal, het normal.
yeah, somebody comments a normal, super normal, or whatever. People making fun of people. I'm joking, but I don't really like making fun of people. Um, you know, Sometimes people ask for it. They really do. When they're like being, super cocky about their
Right.
non-knowledge, informational ass, and you have to do it to them. But most of the time, I really enjoy, helping people. And I really enjoy them going from, oh, I messed up, I don't know, what this is, to, it's just like Patrick. Patrick's a old football um, teammate of mine. We played together in high school, and a few weeks ago, he was buying his first ball python from me, and every time he comes over, you can see that growth just a little bit where he's been on his ground studying, and he's like, oh yeah, so that's a codominant gene, you know,
Right.
and so and okay, that's allelic. That means that when you put them together, and I can see like the spark and the fire is burning, so that right there is what it's about. So I love it,
Yep.
man.
Absolutely.
Absolutely love it. What's going on, Robert Bishop? It's Bishop Ball Pythons. Do you use any type of hatch trays, easy hatch or anything like that? You use the dragon?
I use Dragon Hatch trays. I actually
Yeah.
got some from him.
So I was gonna say, Robert. I always have to plug him in, man. I'm not sponsored or nothing like that, but I love them. Like I can't.
And they fit in because they're orange.
Oh yeah, that's sweet. I fortunately don't have any. Ain't got any white ones yet. Orange and black is all you got, Robert. So far, got in. Need to get some white ones, or nah. White ones wouldn't do good. I don't think I like
I
white
think they
ones.
just get dirty.
Yeah.
I mean, it'd be pretty neat to see them, but
Yeah.
they get dirty.
Yellow. I'll take yellow. I got some yellow in my logo. But all right, man. Let's see here. We talked about how many snakes you have and what your upkeep expenses are. While we were talking about Facebook groups and people saying, super normal and all this stuff, are you on Facebook, or do you?
I do have Facebook, yeah.
Yeah. You in any of the ball python groups?
I'm in a few local ones.
Yeah.
I think other than that, that's pretty much all that I'm in. I don't even really get on Facebook that much anymore, to be honest.
Yeah.
It's all just drama.
Yeah. That's I think a lot of people in the reptile community like gravitate towards Instagram more.
Yeah.
And I have a hard time like keeping up with my Instagram because it, like, I don't know, it's I still haven't like structured myself to like click on Instagram like I do Facebook, and it's
Yeah.
weird because I enjoy them both, but I can guarantee you I check Facebook almost every time that I open my phone, but I don't do that with Instagram.
Right.
That's why a lot of times like I miss notifications. Somebody will message me and I'll feel bad because it may be like 12 hours until I message them back. Unless I'm like, it's like when we're organizing this whole thing, like I'm
Right.
knowing to go there, stuff like that. But I
Right.
man, Instagram definitely a lot less drama. I mean, it boils down to like these people follow you, like they're wanting to see your stuff. I'm not saying that there's not drama, but
Right. There's drama anywhere. I mean,
yeah,
anywhere you go, you're
yeah.
gonna get some form
Oh
of
yeah,
drama.
yeah. Human nature. It's human
Yep.
nature. There's I was saying like it doesn't matter if everybody was the same age, color, and same had the same amount of money. There's always gonna be someone in that group that's gonna say, "Well, I'm more normal than you."
Right.
Like I'm
Right.
less the same than it. It just human nature. It's how we are, competitive, and
Yep.
some of them jealous and hateful in all the case. But the reason I ask that is, do you ever run into people who, are common husbandry issues that you see, over and over in these Facebook pages or in these groups, that you think that people are making as a mistake, but can be easily avoided? Do you see that at all?
I have. Um, the one thing that like with constantly misting snakes and stuff like that, it's unnecessary. I think. If you keep an eye on your snakes and you watch them like on a daily basis, I check mine pretty much daily.
Mm-hmm.
And as soon as they start to go in the shed, you see the eyes go opaque.
Yep.
As soon as the eyes clear up, I'll mist, clean sheds every time.
Yeah.
I don't think it's really necessary to have them in a constant moist environment, as then you have heat and you have moisture, which grows bacteria.
Bacteria. Yep.
And you're going to get molding issues inside your tubs. And your snakes are breathing that in. That was actually one of the reasons why I'd actually switched to aspen, because I was keeping too much moisture in there, and it's like once you get it in there, it's hard to get it out.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And so it's like I'll try, and I mean the first I started out with my older hatchlings. I put them on aspen. I was like, let's just see how it does. I was getting perfect sheds, and I was like, okay, so not saying that it's the best bedding. I like cocoa, and I won't say that cocoa's not the way to go. If you're gonna do it to where you're not constantly looking at your animals, cocoa would be the way to go.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's necessarily as clean as, say, aspen, because again, you can see it. I mean, it's almost white.
Yeah.
So as soon as they go to the bathroom, you can see everything where it's at, and you just grab it, pick it up, move it out.
Yeah, I've definitely considered aspen a couple times, but the reason why I haven't ever switched to aspen is humidity and being afraid of stuck shed and stuff like that. Do you do any type of humidifier, like room humidity, like control it?
Yep.
No. What's you're in Texas, right? What's your average humidity?
I mean, in my house, you're talking like 45-ish, somewhere around in there.
Interesting.
And like anytime I change my bedding,
yeah,
I do a full clean or spot clean, it's get it all set and just kind of gently mist it down, and that's it. But other than that, like I don't mist very much.
Yeah.
Unless they're going in the shed.
Yeah. And then you're misting daily at that point for that snake that has went into blue?
Usually, if their eyes, like you'll see, they'll start to get red belly.
Yeah.
Then their eyes will go opaque.
Yep.
And then after their eyes clear up, it's usually that day or the next day that they
24
shed.
24 hours, right.
So as soon as you see that their eyes start to change, you spray the snake down, kind of dampen the area, and then, almost every single time you're going to get a perfect jet. And I mean, even on Aspen.
Yeah. So I use cocoa, but I try to break it down. I use cocoa blocks because Repti chip is like hard brick, and cocoa blocks is bigger chunks
Yeah.
that don't
It
come.
looks a lot cleaner.
Oh yes, yes, I love it
Yeah,
for
a lot.
pictures. It doesn't come as compacted, and I'm able to put it in a tub. I made a makeshift sifter, makeshift shake, cocoa shaker or whatever, with holes in the bottom, so I can sift out the
Right.
little bit of fine stuff and put it in there. And I smash it with my foot, and it all breaks apart.
No water, no nothing. Just
No, yep,
dry,
just smash
dry
it
it
down.
back.
So it's dry, and I may add a little bit of water on top just to have the dust not kick up whenever I'm scooping it out into the tubs, and I do that,
Right.
and within 24 hours, all the cocoa has pretty much went dry, and I just do the water bowl tip method. For the most part, when I see one that is went deep blue, if I know that have been busy and I may not remember to come back to this one tomorrow or the day after exactly, to see that it has went from blue to clear, or remember, was this one in shed, or because I don't really like mark shed on the tub
Right.
or anything like that.
I mean, I don't track sheds. I don't track feedings. I mean,
Yeah.
I look at the animals enough to know. Okay, that one didn't eat last week.
Oh
Looks
yeah,
like
yeah, for sure.
But I mean, I don't track any of that.
Yeah. And I'll tip the water bowl, and I mean not the entire water bowl. I'm talking about
Right.
maybe
Just enough to kind of.
yeah, and I do it like right by the snake, and
Right.
so that is right over the hot spot, and it's evaporating, and it's not sitting trying to mold or whatever, and causing a higher percentage of humidity. But I actually started running a whole room humidifier in here, and it's been keeping my humidity between 50 and 60%, for the most part on medium. And then when I want to crank it up for it seemed like last month I had like 12 snakes that are all in shit at the same time, and
Right.
I cranked it up to high, and it took it up to like low 70s, and I had it there for a couple days, and it was amazing. Not a single one of those snakes had any stuck shed. I love that, but I also had a huge issue with keeping any type of humidity in here, which is weird because the humidity outside would be higher than the humidity in here, but the humidity in my house was the same as outside or similar. I don't know. What I think it boiled down to was the concrete. This wall right here and this wall over here is concrete. The other two, well, one's a garage door and the other one is my drywall to my house. But I sealed those walls with dry lock sealer, because when you look real close, there's a bunch of little holes in it, and I was told that was sucking out the humidity in the room. So it seems to have worked with doing that and sealing the floor. I don't have as big of issue with my humidity now. I have thought about switching to paper. I've thought about switching to cypress mulch because it's a lot cheaper, but for the moment I buy cocoa in bulk, so it's not too bad. Too bad on me. And to be honest with you, that electricity and feeding my rats is really my only cost right now. And sometimes I can alleviate even the cost of feeding the rats by selling a few rats. It's like if you can make, I don't know how many you wean out a week, but we're weaning out about 100, 150 a week. And if we can sell about 50 to 60 bucks of rats a week, which is like less than 30 rats a week, then we will pay for our whole entire rat operation. 500 plus rats, right? That's totally doable. I've bought snakes for rat money. You sell rats at all?
Every now and then I've had a couple of people that have bought snakes, and they don't want to do the frozen thawed. And, I don't believe in the whole frozen thawed deal.
Well, I mean, it's not feasible for someone that has more than 10 snakes.
Right. Well,
and it's not natural. If that's where you're getting.
Well,
I get that.
That also, but at the same time, whenever you go to the grocery store to buy vegetables, do you buy fresh vegetables or do you buy frozen vegetables?
Me personally, I don't eat vegetables, but
Well,
I get what you're saying. Yeah,
so
you buy
as soon
fresh
as you
vegetables.
freeze it, you're
Yeah.
gonna lose your nutrients, and
Yeah.
that's the same thing goes with meats and rats
Yep.
and everything like that.
Yeah.
So now, not to say that it's not just you don't just throw rats in there and leave them.
Mhm.
You have to pay attention. I mean, once
Yeah.
they get so big, but I don't feed anything bigger than like a, maybe a large small. I don't feed anything bigger than that.
Yeah.
I don't feed mediums. I don't feed larges.
Yeah.
All my males eat pups or
Mhm.
fuzzies, and that's pretty much it. I don't do big meals. I'll do multiple of smaller meals.
Yeah. Um. Yeah. I mean, I don't really ever feed frozen thawed. If I do something that is not live, it is fresh killed or freshly
Yep.
euthanized. If I'm afraid that it's a little bit bigger than that snake can handle, or not necessarily handle, but like when you get to a medium in a rat, I don't care. I mean, unless that snake is way bigger than that medium, like
Right. Well,
there's
rats they'll fight until they can't anymore.
yeah, I tell people all the time, like I've been hurt way worse by rats than I ever snake even ever thought about hurting me. Now I
Oh, for
haven't been
sure.
bit by any of my big boas. I probably have to get stitches, but uh, I've been bitten by a rat to where I felt it on my bone tip, like in my finger, my
Yep.
bone. I felt it on my bone, and if I was a hateful person, I would have just killed that rat and just put it in the trash can and just not let it
So,
have a
so
purpose at
it
all.
would it would have
Yeah.
hit the floor at a high rate of speed.
Yeah, high rate of speed. That's whack. But yeah, man. I definitely get what you're saying, and when you think about it, it's not natural. And let's just think about actual nothing that we eat, fish, cow. I mean, nothing that we eat will we freeze with the interims, with the guts, and then thaw out and then cook. It may be the meat. We may do the meat, but not the interims, and that's what's happening. And I have people that want me to switch over their snakes from live to frozen thawed, which is completely fine. After they have their sixth meal of a live rat pup, and I say, hey, it's ready to go. At this point, we're gonna start week to week is a fee of like $3.
Right.
All right, and that is just because I could be selling this snake right now, but you're wanting me to switch it to frozen thawed, so you'll pay for the frozen thawed mouse hop or rat pup.
Right.
I think I do $2. But anyway, it's very minimal when when you think about it, as far as someone doing the work for you, because anywhere else, most people's not gonna do that. You know what I mean?
For sure.
And honestly, it's a big ask, but I do like to help people out and make sure that they're comfortable doing what they're the snake's going to be comfortable when they get there, and they're going to be comfortable with the snake.
Sure.
But it is not natural, and they most of the time it's not something that they just want to do willingly.
No. I mean, I have snakes. I can throw whatever I want in there, and they'll eat.
Oh yeah, same here 100%.
And then there's others that you throw a frozen thawed rat in front of them, and they just look at you like, I'm not eating this.
Yeah. I tell people all the time, like, snakes aren't scavengers. They're not going to come up on a dead rodent and be like, that smells good, I'm going to eat that. You know what I mean?
And then say you heat the rat up too much, and then your snake hits it, and it explodes.
Yeah.
And that's disgusting, and it smells terrible.
Yeah. I think it's funny that there's an actual joke that people have used microwaves to heat up their rodents. I never would think that was the actual thing, but
that's funny because I think Earl told me last weekend he had somebody call him and told him, "Oh, I was warming up this rat and it blew up." Well, how were you warming it up? Oh, well, I put it in the microwave, and he's like, I had to mute my phone. I was laughing so hard. I was like, why? I was like, yeah, you need to throw that microwave away.
That's hilarious.
Yep. I would never use that microwave again.
No. Eric's Morse Factory, what's going on? Appreciate you for tuning in. So, I can't see who this is. It just says Facebook user. You'll have to click on the link at the top of Facebook to be able to have your name pop up there. But it says that you just say you break up the cocoa and put it in dry, then moisten it. Yes. Like 99% of the time. I'm sometimes like I don't do stuff exactly the same way every time. I like to mix stuff up, kind of
Right.
see how
You
it works
try
out this
different
time.
things
Yeah,
for
but
sure.
99% of the time, yes, if the block is not compacted, because most of the cocoa block is not super tight, and you can absolutely just step on
Yeah.
it and it will
And
fall
even
apart.
even like cocoa block, as soon
Yeah,
as you break it up, you can grab the pieces and squish them.
yeah,
So
yeah,
they're
yep,
not hard.
yeah,
You get Repti chip. Repti chip is always hard.
yeah,
It honestly it looks nasty when you put it in.
yeah.
I mean, I
You know,
use it for my bearded dragons, which is probably weird, but I
yeah,
use it for my bearded dragons. I've never had any issues with it, and I leave it dry.
yeah. It's the first time I
And
ever heard that,
yeah,
but
I mean it,
I'm
it
not
does
gonna
fine.
knock it. If it's
I
say
mean,
that it's
I know people that use cocoa blocks for incubation boxes.
oh yeah, yeah, I've seen that too. I've seen some super high end breeders like uh I'm talking about even the lower end of these snakes is gonna be $4,000 or $5,000 that there's a clutch going in on cocoa blocks. Hell, Justin Kabelka uses puts it straight in the vermiculite or
Yeah,
perlite or
I did
uh,
that. I mean, from the get go, I did that until I got these dragon hatch trays.
see, I
I
was
think,
always under the
well, I've
impression
only used one. I think I've only used dragon hatch trays one time, and it was
oh
my last clutch last
yeah,
season.
yeah.
Other than that, I just put them straight in the vermiculite.
Yeah, I was always under the impression that if they touched anything or moisture, that was it.
I never had any issues with it.
Yeah, it's it's definitely a good substrate, and I like it. I like it a lot. I did see what you were saying about the Repti chip, and what I was told is that it all originates at the same place.
It does.
It's just different grades. It's
Yeah.
different.
Jesse pays a lot more to get
Yeah,
that nicer cocoa.
which is crazy because they're like the same price.
Yep.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
And it's
Like,
whenever you open a tub and it's like nice, clean, bright orange cocoa, it looks so much better than it just looks. I mean, I
mm-hmm.
used Repti chip before I used cocoa blocks,
Yeah, me too.
and they went through. They were at the NARBC show here. Uh, Breeding Breeder set up a booth, and they brought 4 pallets of cocoa blocks,
Yeah,
and then they also brought a shaker.
yeah,
Well, they thought that it would be funny. Brian Cusco goes down to one of the other breeders and buys a block of cocoa.
is that
Well,
this
they
year?
break it up and they divided the sifter. Half
Yeah,
of it was cocoa blocks, the other half was Repti chip. And there was
yeah.
people walking by that were just like, dude, y'all are brave.
Balls.
And it's like, but look at the difference though. And I'm
Yeah,
like, man, just like that, like there was people, I mean, they were selling cocoa blocks like crazy.
yeah. Was that this year?
That was last April. I think it
Yeah,
was last April.
I think I remember seeing that.
Oh, it was all over Instagram.
Yeah,
Like people was posting it everywhere.
yeah. I sold the cocoa blocks at a show here, relatively local. It was actually in the state up from us, but I didn't go get Repti chip. There was another vendor there selling Repti chip, um, but honestly, for me, I feel like if you know cocoa looks like or Repti chip looks like, or you use cocoa and you walk past this, you're gonna be like, hold on, it kind of looks a little different. Those are bigger chunks. That looks brighter. Something's different. What is that? Wait, same price? Hell, I might as well try it. I'm gonna buy some anyway.
Right.
I did have one
And
person
like
that
the
was
whole
that
deal,
was
like everybody that was up there, like I hung out with the Freedom Breeder crew, and everybody that came up there, and it was like, I'm not gonna say that one's better than the other. They're both cocoa.
yeah,
I think each one has its own uses,
yeah,
but I don't know. I just after seeing that, I was like, dude, I'm not gonna put my snakes on Refuge chip. And
yeah,
I mean, I know JT. I hang out with JT at shows all the time, and
mm-hmm.
like he's an awesome guy.
Yeah,
But it's like the product speaks for itself.
yeah. I mean, there's definitely a lane for everybody. Like, no, it would make no sense for there to be 100 top of the line. You know what I mean? Like, there
Right.
has to be, and I'm not saying that Repti chip is bottom of the barrel because there's two other particular brands out there that I've used, one of which I bought and told him I was going to give him my honest review, and when I gave him my honest review, just never even messaged me back. Like, you can't be mad at me because I gave you my honest review, and I'm literally showing you pictures of what was in your product, okay? It is what it is, but, there's got to be, different lanes of this stuff,
For sure.
And it is what it is at the end of the day. So this was Rachel with New to Town Morphs. I had a hard time getting into the video. We have put cocoa in dry, moistened it, and came back with more cocoa in the tub than we expected. Yeah, it's definitely gonna expand. When I fill up my tubs, I do enough to cover the bottom of it, especially if I'm putting in, moistening it. Now, doing this way that I'm doing, you really need to know that your room humidity is on point, or that you're going to be on top of, your tub, as far as like what he was saying, checking out your snakes often. Otherwise, I do recommend people to do the original way, like you see in all the videos where they dump in water in the cocoa and, this and that. You just again have to, either way you look at it, you got to monitor it, because if it's wet all the time, just like you said, and you end up building mold, that needs to be taken out the moment that it starts to build. If you don't use moisture, and then your snake goes in the shed, and you miss that, then, or not missed it, but miss it going in the shed, and you have stuck shed, stuck eye cap, stuff like that, it's not gonna be good. All that stuff can lead to respiratory infection, and you're stressed out. So, either way you crack it, you're gonna have to be on top of the snakes. But yeah, I mean,
just really and truly, just do whatever works best for you. I mean, that's what it all kind of boils down to.
Yeah, I actually wish that I haven't looked into it a lot, but I wish that I can be confident in my room humidity enough to go away from cocoa and use the inserts with the cut out with paper.
Yeah, for sure.
Because that right there, like since I've switched my boas to paper, I bought one of those little wall things where you pull the roll off the wall and rip it, like you see in stores and stuff. And I don't have an exact measurement, but I can reach out to a certain point on my wall and know that that's the 4 foot for my retic and berm, and these are 6 foot, so the 6 foot mark, and do that exactly and put that in there. I like that because it forces me. I think Mike with Herb Collectors was talking about this, or maybe it was another person I had on here. It forces you to kind of stay on top of it, especially if you don't like seeing that stuff. There's a lot of breeders that don't give a shit. They don't care. They'll walk in and their towel has disintegrated, paper towel or paper has disintegrated to nothing but particles from the pee and all this other stuff. Yeah, but if you care about it and you don't want it looking like that, you'll stop what you're doing, or you'll get in there right then and you'll change it out, and this and that. So I do like that, and I think that it's a nice look. I forget who I seen earlier today that had the paper in their tub with the cutout in it. But
those inserts are nice, man, and they cut them to the dimensions of the tubs, and they just drop in. You got a little bit on each side and around the cup holder, and I mean, that's nice.
Yeah, I mean, and honestly, like, if you're on top of it, you would a little chlorhexidine, spray out the tub, wipe it out, and you're good. You should never have those like strong compactions, like you have with cocoa and stuff, where it hits the bottom of the tub or in the corner. I think I seen someone had a video where their paper actually went up on the sides a little bit to prevent that, God forbidden, spot where it wants to get in the tub. Yep. And you're like, I can't get it this way, I can't get it that way, and then you end up scratching your tub and you're like, I'm gonna go get a spoon.
Yeah.
I've yet to bring a spoon down here. I've tried everything that I can, because I don't want my wife to say.
Spoons are your friend, man.
Yeah. I just don't want my wife saying, why are you taking a spoon downstairs? What are you going to do with that?
Yeah, just go to like
I can get a Dollar Tree
thrift store or something like that.
Yeah.
Go get some cheap spoons.
For sure.
These are mine. Stay away from them.
Yeah. One day she was at Dollar Tree and I was like, hey, can you give me some of those ceramic water bowl or ceramic bowls? She's like the ones we put like ketchup in or whatever. I was like, yeah, you know, but as thick as you can get them, but not being huge. She didn't find them. It was I'm trying to think who that was that I seen. I remember it was one of the, like Brian Gundy or somebody had used those, and I liked it. But I ended up gluing my hatchling grow out tubs, little 3 ounce cups. I glue them to the bottom of the tub, and then I put
Okay.
another one in that one to keep
Oh,
them
okay.
from tipping it over. So. All right, man. Down to the last question I got for you, and that's basically, what tools or resources do you recommend, or would you recommend someone that is looking to expand their knowledge on keeping or breeding ball pythons?
I mean, there's plenty of people that are on YouTube that are really informative.
Yeah.
I mean, really and truly, that's all I use starting out. Is just YouTube videos, man. I literally lived on YouTube for the first 6 months of us doing this.
Yeah.
It was every day, every night. That's what I did. If I wasn't working, I was watching YouTube videos.
Yeah, for sure.
And I mean, honestly, if you can find somebody locally that knows what they're doing, that is willing to let you come in and just I mean, even if you're just going over there washing water bowls,
Yeah.
like, you're just seeing how somebody that knows what they're doing, how they do it. I mean, you'd be amazed at what you learn without, okay, well, you need to do this, we need to do that, you need to do this. You know, just watch them.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that unfortunately there's a misconception of what a lot of people have, because I've seen this, especially in my local community, as far as what is a good mentor or not. I think a lot of people feel like if you, just because someone has a name out there, or they've been doing it for so long, or that they have this many snakes or this many reptiles, that they are good at it. And unfortunately, especially my local community, I don't know about yours, but a lot of those guys are shit breeders. Like, don't take care of their animals. They're the ones bringing mites to the shows. They are the ones that are having sick animals. Like, you know, I get it. You want to make an excuse. Well, it's hard to do all this or what. Hey, sell some of them. Like, don't take in more.
And, you know, most of the people that are like that, when you call them and ask them if you can come over to their facility, they're gonna tell you no.
Yeah.
The people that are welcoming,
yeah,
that want you to come by, those are the people that 9 times out of 10 are going to be your best bet for somebody to help you.
Yeah. And
you know, there's plenty of people, I mean, all over social media that's always willing to help.
For sure. And I agree with that. But I also have went to some places where we just walked by it like it was a casual, you know, laundry basket sitting there, you know, and there's a snake in there with 7 piles of crap. You know they don't poop every day, so
right. It's been in there for a while.
You know, I mean, I'm not saying I'm perfect, and I mean, the moment it's coming out, I got to poop. You know, I'm that's not, you know, nobody's perfect.
No, because as soon as you clean it up, they're gonna go again.
Yeah. But I mean, come on, man. I don't. Some of these people, I just don't understand how they let it get so bad.
Right. I mean, really, it's not like taking care of a dog. That you gotta feed them and everything every single day. Like they're not that. I mean.
Yeah, I picked up a retic, my one and only retic from this. It was actually a pastor. And his son bought like 5 retics while him and his wife were on vacation. He's a pastor of this church, big nice church or whatever. So they got a little bit of money, apparently, for his son. I mean, he's a little older, like 17, 18, somewhere around in there. He bought these retics and he came home. He's got all these snakes, whatever. I thought it was hilarious because he's a pastor, and my mom's an ordained minister. And growing up, she was always like, absolutely not, no snakes. She finally let me get a corn snake that I caught outside, which, you know, telling younger me, like, don't do that. But anyway, I went to go meet up with him to get it, and as I'm picking the snake up, I'm just like, mites. I see him, you know. You just think, like, I know you see what I see.
Right.
regardless if you know if they're snake mites or not, you see the bugs crawling on this thing, all right? And it was infested with mites. I've never seen them embedded in the eye, all around the eye, in all the pits and creases in between his mouth, underneath. I mean, just everywhere. And I had to treat him like no other to get these mites away. I was terrified of them getting in to the house, period, much less my snake room. I quarantined in a different room, but
Right.
yeah, he was kind of like, oh, I didn't notice that, and then what's funny is a buddy of mine was asking me where I got them from. I was like, yeah, he's, got a few of them. It's actually one of those situations where I wish they would, go ahead and somebody would go ahead and get them, and he went and got his, and the guy had told me that he took care of the mite situation, and he goes, yeah, they had mites still when he picked his up, but yeah, it is what it is.
I mean,
man.
it happens. I mean, mice happen. They do. But to let them get that far out of hand, I mean, that's just pure neglect.
Yeah. I don't know how people are not able to see them, like, and then wonder, like, what is that?
Yeah.
What's that? It's not flying. It's not a gnat.
Right.
I don't know what that is.
I don't like bugs in general, so.
Yeah, me either. I use no pest strips as a preventative. I've never gotten mites in here. Knock on wood. I don't deal with gnats. And yeah, have you heard of no pest strips?
Yeah.
Yeah, I use them.
But see, I do grow, or I say I grow. I do raise mealworms and dubias.
Yeah, me
for
too.
my bearded dragons, so I can't use those, which sucks.
You know what's crazy? I've never had any issues with them.
Really?
Yep. I keep them in this drawer right here, 4 feet away from me. I've got 2 giant dubia colonies, 500 to 800 dubias in each one of them. I've got a massive mealworm tray right here, less than 4 feet, and I've got probably 4,000 mealworms on the other side of the room. And every single one of my tubs that are not hatchlings has one of these in it. Now, with that being said, you got to use some common sense and not like me and take one of your snake sheds that has had one of these in it, one of these no pest strips, and take a snake shed and say, I'm going to put it in my isopod culture because they eat shed. And then you come in there and, oh my God, I was devastated. It was the one time that I was like, you know what? I'm going to get some of them designer isopods. I'm going to get some orange ones, and I'm going to get some whatever the fancy names of them is. And I started to venture out a little bit besides the regular roly-poly-oly's backyard type, variant. And yeah, they all died, man. That was luckily I put some in my tegu enclosure, so I have that going for me, and I know that they're breeding. But yeah, I didn't even think about it, and I had a non-big, like someone who only has like a few snakes, bring it up to me like, well, what do you think it was this? And then my other buddy who breeds rats with me said it, and I was like, oh man, I messed up, man. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, I would have never thought of it either.
I didn't either. It was crazy, but I guess that shows it works. If it was on the shed, then it works. All right, man. Well, if you don't have anything else to add, let's see. It looks like I missed a couple of comments here. Do you want to answer this? You have any?
So how I treat mites, like, I buy the, what is it? The reptile spray, animal chemistry reptile spray.
Mm-hmm.
Brown
bottle.
Just as a preventative,
yeah,
I mix it half and half, and I put it in a spray bottle, and I spray every single one of my tubs every time I change the bedding. So, coconut is wood, and you do get dust mites. They do come in it. It does happen. You get wood mites. They're just white mites. Yeah. They're not going to hurt your snakes or anything like that. But again, it's still a bug in your snake tub. You don't like it.
Yep.
But by doing that, that'll actually kill anything that goes in contact with that,
Mm-hmm.
and it won't hurt your snake. And I do the same thing whenever I buy a snake. Whenever it goes into quarantine, I actually spray the snake, clean the snake off, put it in a tub.
Mm-hmm.
So I treat anything that comes into my collection before it comes into my collection.
I do the same. I use ivermectin though. It's kind of one of those things where I do try different things, but when I find something that works and after time and time again never lets me down, I tend, especially when it comes to something that like I never want to experience. You know what I
Right.
mean? I won't do anything different. Um, and I've got a good buddy of mine that uses uh, swears by Frontline spray.
Yeah, I've heard
And
that too.
and you know both of them have proven to not do anything to the snake and never add mites to your collection. And literally, I have had mites walk in here but never spread to any of my collection because I
Right.
used the ivermectin on. It's funny because it was actually a clutch of eggs. This guy didn't have an incubator ready, and he brought us a clutch of eggs. And I mean, I've never had a mite outbreak in my
Eggs on
shop.
mice
So
or mice on eggs?
yeah, yeah.
Oh,
He didn't bring the snake over here, but he brought the clutch and he sat the tub down and he opened it up and took
oh wow.
said I've done everything like they do in the video, and he opened it up and I looked and I said, hell no, that is not a mite running across the egg. But mind you, he just pulled them from underneath the mother, so she had
Right.
mites. And it just shows you how bad the infestation was. So I immediately took them out. I even rinsed them off. Like, I mean, at that point, I really didn't care if the clutch went bad. It did end up going bad, but it was more important to me that I didn't get mites.
Right. To not have mites.
It might have been something small to him being, saying, hey, I wish that this clutch will have the best chance at surviving. But honestly, I mean, at that point, I wanted to do everything that I could to not have mites because I mean, unless you want to pay for every single tub being replaced with cocoa and want to do it, that's another thing. It ain't just about the money you spent. Like, do it, do it.
Right.
I want to see you do all these tubs, and then we'll talk. But yeah, that was strange. I had never seen that before, and I mean,
I never seen that either.
again, but
I
I've
mean,
never.
I've used prevenamite.
Yeah.
I'm kind of skeptical about prevenamite because if you don't let it dry, it can hurt your
Yeah.
snake.
Yep.
So it's like you don't necessarily have to use it. If you do
Yeah.
it, just wash the tub, clean the tub, spray it in the bottom of the tub, put your bedding over it every time you clean your bedding, and it's a preventative where you shouldn't have to ever worry about it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's oh crap. Hold on, guys. Sorry about that. Automatic light timer. That's why I don't like using anything other than chlorhexidine, because I know that with chlorhexidine I could spray it on the snake if I wanted to, and it won't hurt them. The ivermectin has worked great for me. I've sprayed them, besides the eyes, from head to toe, and never had any snakes get sick. Never had any snakes have bad, excuse me, scale issues or scale rot or anything like that. And I've never had a mite outlive that treatment, period.
Right.
Out of quarantine, I always quarantine and treat any snake that comes in. Nothing personal to whoever it is, but I want to see and know for certain that that snake has been treated for mites. That way I can narrow down, if it ever does happen, where it came from or where I messed up, what I did that I shouldn't have done. You know what I mean?
For sure.
I don't like going to pet stores and then walking in here. I don't like going to shows and then walking in here. All of that goes through shower and, being outside of here. It's just, it's the only way that you're going to protect your collection.
It's all about keeping your area clean. Right?
Yeah. Quarantine. Patrick, I was telling you about quarantining. Don't go handle your snake that's in quarantine and then go handle your snake that's not in quarantine.
Make sure you wash very thoroughly before you mess with any of your other animals.
Anytime you cross contaminate or you're using, something from a snake that's just came in quarantine to a snake that you've had for even a year, now that snake is running the risk of, being exposed to anything that snake in quarantine is, and it will undo what you have tried to do, which keep them separate so that you can isolate anything that's happening with the new snake. But yeah. Do you have anything else you want to add, man?
No, I don't think so.
Gary says he wants green and blue dragon hatch trays.
Hey, green dragon hatch trays would be pretty cool.
Yeah, you can just spray paint them. You got some pretty cool colors, orange and green. Some nice vibrant colors. I've been fighting with myself on my colors of my.
I wanted something bright.
Yeah.
And that was my whole thing, was I wanted something bright.
Yeah.
And orange is one of my favorite colors, and like the green just kind of went with it good. Mm-hmm. And here recently, I just added the scales because it didn't have the scales. It was just solid. Oh, sorry, this side.
Yeah.
It was just solid, and then I got with the person actually made my logo, and I was like, could you put scales in this? And she was like, yeah. And I was like, okay, that's awesome. I like that.
Heck yeah.
I think it turned out really good.
She do a revision for you on the house, or was she already doing the logo?
She was actually the one that made the logo originally, and then I was like, can I get it in different colors? Like, I want to see it in different colors. And then so she went through, she made like 12 different colors with scales, without scales, different kinds of scales. And then it was like, yeah, I was like, so it was actually my boss's sister. So.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, well, what else? I don't worry about it. No, I already, the hardest part was just making it. And yeah, I told her whenever I first came up with it, I had drawn up something and was like, it was just the letters TER, and then it had a snake crawling through it. And I was like, I want something simple, like something modern, something simple. I was like, just the 3 letters, and then somehow or another incorporate a snake in it.
Yeah.
She sends me a message 15 minutes later and was like, what about this? And I was like, dude, I never even thought about turning the E into a snake.
Yeah, simple is better. And it's nice. Yep. It gets out there, what you're trying to do. I talk about this all the time, but this was my main logo. This was the one that I drew up. Well, somewhat. This is my rough draft, not this. This is the final product of what the graphic designer came up with. But I drew an M as a snake, and then, spelling out Morphination. And this is what she came with me with, which the highway was my logo snake, and I loved it. And I was like, this is so dope. Killed it. Knocked it out of the park. And then people kept saying, what is Orphination? And they couldn't realize that the snake was in the M, because it was an actual snake, not it was a letter like it is now. Like you see my logo now, where it looks more like a letter, as much as it looks like a snake. No one's ever messed that up, but a lot of people messed the other one up. So I was like, you know what? It's too complicated for the eye. So let me switch. And then you think about. We've talked about, a little bit about branding with some of the biggest companies. They are not complicated. There's some of the stuff is just like Apple, Nike, Windows, like all the stuff is something that you can look at one time, remember, and then anytime you see that, you're like, oh yeah, that's such and such. And that's why I wanted the snake, not to be, who knows if I'll ever like someone see this and be like, oh yeah, that's Romeo, that's Morphination Reptiles. But this is what I wanted, and I wanted something that I'm like, look, don't let me Google this image and see you pulled it off Pinterest or something. You know what I mean?
Right.
But she's legit graphic designer. So it was designed for me. One thing I don't know about is how do you stop somebody from having that? How do you stop somebody else from stealing that, or how do you stop somebody else from using that part of your logo? Do you have to trademark that or something?
I don't know.
Have you looked into like any type of trademarking for your logo?
I have not.
I know I've seen people like make videos about it and stuff, but I didn't know if it was ever that serious. I know whenever I was making my logo, not making my logo, but thinking my name, I was like, Google, like, does anybody have this name? Damn, there's a Facebook, but ain't nobody been on it since 2015. No
Yeah.
post or anything. I'm like, they probably got out of it,
Yeah, I went through a few before landing on that. I was like, man, I had. Let's see, what was the first one? Uh, oh, the original one that I came up with was Reptiles Anonymous
Reptiles Anonymous. Okay.
because it's an addiction.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
And I was
I like
like,
that.
oh, that'd be so cool.
Yeah.
Somebody already had it. And I had already had, oh, I'll do a logo. It'll look like this. And then somebody already had the logo that was very, very similar. So I was like, all right, whatever. Then I was like, oh, look, scales and tails. That'd be cool. Somebody has that too. I was like, all right, nobody's gonna have Tatom's exotic reptiles. So
yeah, that would have been. Where are they at? Like, if they ain't doing nothing, man, they need to give that one up because that's a pretty cool name.
Yeah.
'Cause I ain't,
It was like, I mean, think of the slogans that you could come up with that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like,
I like that. Reptiles Anonymous.
Yep.
That's nice. All right, man. Well, do you have anything that you want to add? Anything you want to talk about? We didn't touch on?
I don't think so.
Okay. Let everybody know where they can find you at, what social media platforms you're on.
I'm actually on Instagram, Facebook. I do have a YouTube channel also. It's real small. I post videos every now and then.
Hey. Something.
Go ahead.
I said that's something. I'll take, just putting it out there, man.
Right. I'm more active on Instagram, and it's tatoms.exotic.reptiles. YouTube channel is Tatom's Exotic Reptiles. Yeah, I mean, I appreciate you having me come on here. It's pretty cool.
No problem at all, man. No problem. I love reaching out to different breeders and different keepers. And just so you all know, I've not, had any conversation really before. The other day when reaching out to you with him, and I do this all the time. I'm sure people sometimes be like, "Well, that was random," like.
Yeah, I was sitting here. I was like, I think I had a conversation. I hatched out some banana. What was it? Banana champagne stuff. And I seen one of your posts, and it was something. It was
yes.
Banana pewter.
Banana pewter to champagne, and
I was like, dude, this kind of looks similar to what I have.
Yep.
And I hatched out one that she is at least banana, champagne, and I think she might have mystic in her.
Yeah, because that was a super banana parent, right? The dad. Yeah.
It was a super banana to a champagne pastel, but I think the male has mystic in him.
Yeah.
Because I had some pretty whacked out patterns on some of my bananas. So, but yeah, she's like purple and gold.
Hold back to see what's going on with that.
Oh yeah.
That even though Patrick, if you're still watching, even though he knows most of what's going on in there, that could be considered a Dinker project because that's a project that he doesn't really know what's going on.
See, that was a Craigslist buy.
Yeah. Yep.
Was what happened there.
Yep.
Because he was like, the guy told me he was a banana mystic, but he was full grown. He had no spots.
Huh.
I was like, he's not. And I hatched out 2 clutches from him. That was 14 babies, every single one of them banana. And every single one of the bananas were females. Which was weird from a super banana.
Which is weird from a Craigslist buy. Because to get a female maker male super banana, you hit the jackpot. Because I don't believe
I got it for a steal.
Yeah?
I was like, whenever he walked up with it, I was like, are you sure?
Yeah.
He's like, yeah. And I was like, okay.
That's a double jackpot, man. I tell you, I see people post bananas. Like, if I don't know you know what you're doing, and you say, yeah, female banana, buzzy. In my head, I may not say nothing, but in my head, I'm like, yeah, that's a male. or it's not a female
Yep.
maker. You know what I mean? Until I know without a shadow of a doubt because I popped it, or you show me that it came from a female, or to be a female maker, male.
Correct.
That's just how I feel about people. At
For
least,
sure.
at least
For
locally.
sure. And I mean, I'm not even gonna lie. There's times like even still, I have what four females from that male, and I still every now and then I'll just pop again, make sure.
Yeah.
All right, still a female. It's
Yeah.
like I don't know how this happened, but
Lucked up, man. Lucked up. I know it's wild that that banana I showed you, he had four clutches, 22 babies, didn't produce a single normal.
really,
Yep. And at one point I was like trying to look at the combinations and see where in him there could be like, and I'm looking at forms and research and trying to see like, is anything in there sitting on the same allele? Banana, black pastel, Russo. And I can't find anything. And there were some combos that he made where like he actually reproduced himself, which wouldn't have happened if he had like a what's one that allelic combos, like you will not get both. You'll get one or
right?
the other.
It's one or the other.
Right. Inchy cinnamon. Inchy cinnamon female to a normal, everything will be inchy or cinnamon, but not inchy cinnamon.
Right.
That's just how they work. So I don't know. That's what I say. He's Romeo. He's just a stud. Like I got lucky. I hadn't produced a normal in 22 babies.
Right.
And honestly, not very many single genes either. Like he's reproduced himself once in the black pastel same form, and then again with cinnamon instead of black pastel, which was pretty cool to see the difference in the two. Very little, but black pastel definitely looks better on it. Really
Right.
purple.
I like
purple.
black pastel.
Yeah, for sure. All right, man. Well, I appreciate you coming on, taking the time at your evening to sit down with me and kind of chit chat with stuff and let us get a little insight to what you have going on and some of the projects that you got going on and get to know you. If you will, just hang back just a second. I'm gonna take you backstage and let everybody go, and then we'll chat it up a little bit more.
All right,
Sound
cool.
good?
Like I said, appreciate having me on here.
Yes, sir. We'll see you, man. All right, guys. Well, I appreciate everybody sticking around for 2 hours and 14 minutes while we talk to Kyle of Tatom's Exotic Reptiles. That's going to be all for this week's episode of Cold Blooded Talks. Next week, same time, same channel, Morph Nation Reptiles for next week's episode of the Cold Blooded Talks. And I'll see you all there at 8 p.m. Y'all have a good night.